Hello my fellow investors and welcome back to another fundamental analysis video. Today guys, I would like to go over a company that somebody from my comment section actually recommended. Now granted, I have not taken any recommendations, but you know what? You said, can you cover BKKT again, since they're the only company preparing for one world currency. So guys, I did cover this one, oh man, back when SCOTUS made the decision to not subsidized student loans. So that was, I think, back in like July or something like that. So that was the last time I covered them. However, let's take a look at them one more time and address some of these situations, okay? So with that said, let's get started with this analysis. So before we actually go on to address the company, we have to address what the company actually does. And well, for that reason, we have to take a look at Bitcoin's current price, because yes, guys, this is a Bitcoin related kind of company. So very, very interesting right there. Now, before we actually say anything about this company, right? Because I have a feeling I'm gonna ruffle up some feathers here. I own Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin. I think that it is, quite an interesting kind of technology. However, just because I like it does not mean that I suggest people to buy into Bitcoin as an investment, because I personally do not think that Bitcoin is an investment. It's very, very risky. It is by far I think it is the riskiest investment that you could probably make right now, aside from any altcoins that, are considered like super penny stocks, right? But Bitcoin, as I said, I do like Bitcoin. It's the only cryptocurrency aside from Ethereum that I own. However, due to the fact that it is so new, I personally do not consider an investment for people who are just starting off. I'm not going to be one of those people that says mortgage your whole entire house and put it all into Bitcoin. Absolutely not. I am going to stand by the true tried methods of investing, being that of real estate being first, then stocks, right? Then after that goes into like the commodities, gold and silver, then after that Bitcoin. So that's just what I'm going to stand on. However, this is based on the company Bakkt, right? Bakkt. So I understand that yes, they are attached to Bitcoin to the hip. However, at the end of the day, we do have to analyze this from a fundamental perspective like any other company. I get that some people are going to say, no, but you can't do it like that because, well, it's because of this and that and all this other crazy stuff. I get that, but here's the thing, guys. All of that is speculation, right? It's speculation. The way that I'm going to treat these kinds of companies is the same way that I treat, for example, a company that mines gold. Well, they're going to be susceptible to that of the gold price. So a company like this that's attached to Bitcoin will essentially be subjected to Bitcoin's price. So just hearing that out there, because what the commenter said is they're the only company talking about one world currency. Now, I tried to look, I could not really find anything. The only thing I found was this Reddit post, which I'm not really going to credit it too much because, I mean, it's Reddit. The title is basically BKKT preparing for the global one world currency with BlackRock. Okay, I guess. Yeah. The one thing though I do want to mention it is the Bitcoin halving. Now, when this actually happens, most likely the price of Bitcoin will shoot up massively, right? Right now, the current price of Bitcoin is sitting at around $37,800. Most likely this will skyrocket. I mean, last time this happened, it was in 2020 and the thing went all the way up to, in fact, if we take a look at this right here on the 5-year, the thing went all the way up to what? $66,000, almost $67,000. Most likely this will happen again once the halving occurs, and I would not be surprised if I were to see Bitcoin at like $100,000 plus, right? But at the end of the day, just because it has that possibility does not make it an investment. So just keep that in mind. Now, with that, let's actually move into this company Bakkt, right? Because now we're going to analyze this company based off of, well, all the basic things that we should analyze the company for. So first thing is, well, what in the world do they do? Bakkt Holdings Inc. offers a platform for crypto and redeeming loyalty points. That pretty much is, right? I mean, that's pretty much what the company does. If we take a look at their earnings, they had them just on November 14th. You can see EPS normalized actual 11 cents, beats by 24, no gap, revenue of $14.65 million. That was down almost $1.5 million. Now let's jump into the actual spreadsheet. We got the ticker for BKKT. Market cap of $483 million, a PE of NA. We know this because, well, we just saw their gap and it's non-existent, meaning that this is in the negatives. This is also, guys, a major red flag. The company is a penny stock at $1.76. If we take a look at this graph on the 1 year, they're up 10.43%. Year to date, they're up 51.72%. A lot of volatility happened here. They went sub 65 cents November 8th, and then they just skyrocketed all the way up to $1.88. We can see that we are smack in the middle, 52-week low of 64 cents with a high of $2.87. And just today, they fell 2.22% as of November 28th, 2023. Coming back over here, we can see that they don't pay out a dividend, which means all of this free cash flow is going straight into themselves. However, we can see that the cash flow, the 5-year average and last year's, is in the negatives. Jumping now into the graphs, let's make this rather quick because you're going to see a very quick pattern being established very quickly. So we get over here, guys, net income 5 years ago of negative 33 million to 1 year ago of negative 147.1 million. That is a decrease of 346%. So right off the bat, this is just looking awful. I'm giving this a 0. Now you're probably saying, yeah, but that was a massive jump from 2 to 1 year ago. Why don't you? Well, here's the reason why, right? Here's the reason why I'm not going to take too much into account with this. They haven't had a positive year ever. Like, seriously, they're not positive in the slightest. And from essentially 5 years ago to, well, 2 years ago, actually, I would actually argue that the 2 year ago is the outlier. Actually, the 3 and the 2 year ago is the outlier. And if you just take away these two, this is just a trend line still going down, right? So I'm not going to take this into account. Now, also something to note, this 1 year ago value, it's actually the trailing 12 months. We don't have enough data for 5 years. So all you're going to see when it comes to the profit metrics, this 1 year ago is actually this year. So yeah, that's why I'm giving this thing a 0% for the net income. It's not looking good. And of course, the trend does continue to that of the free cash flow. We got 5 years ago of 57.7 million to 1 year ago of negative 93.5 million. All of these guys are negatives, all right? Just FYI. This is a decrease of 62% with an average of negative $100 million. I'm going to give this a 5% because they had a slight increase from 5 to 4 years ago. But aside from that, it's just bad. It really, really is. When it comes to the revenue, we see something actually horrendous. Yes, this is an increase overall of 64,433%. But the worst part is that 5 years ago, this was 2019, negative $0.9 million. Negative 0.9 in revenue, mind you, revenue. That's not something that you want to see ever. And on top of that, you have a massive outlier from 2 to 1 year ago, going from 54.6 million to 579 million. Guys, even though this is a massive outlier, you know, if this was maybe at around like 60 million, I would be a little bit more, I guess, easygoing. But the fact that you have a negative revenue as well as a massive outlier, 64,000%, yeah, this is a 0%, guys. Total assets minus total liabilities isn't looking too good either. 3 years ago is when they had the peak, as you guys can see here, at 2.3 billion, and then they just came crashing down. And as of 1 year ago, you can see that they're 211 million. Now, the average total assets, it is $1 billion. This is mainly buoyed up by that one outlier. Average liabilities being $319 million. This is a difference of $688 million. I'm going to give this guy's a 5% because at least this difference is in the positive. Cash flow minus the liabilities isn't looking good either. They had 1 year where they slightly went up 3 years ago to 2 years ago, but all in all, this is looking terrible. The 1 year ago, it is negative 729.2 million, the average being negative 300 million. Guys, I'm gonna give this a 5%. The shares outstanding is an interesting one because 5 years ago they have 582.5 million shares to today of 91.4 million shares. That is a massive drop of 84.31%. However, take a look at this. 5 to 4 years ago, massive jump, then a massive buyback on 3 years ago, which is just crazy. 852.8 million to 57.2 million. But ever since then, they have been increasing it. So yeah, this is all over the place. In fact, previous year to the current year, that is an increase of almost 13%. 2 years ago, 80.9 million. 1 year ago, of 91.4 million. Guys, this is, I don't know what's happening here. I'm gonna give this 0%. I'm not gonna bother looking up as to why this is occurring because this doesn't make any sense to me in the slightest. And now, lastly, when it comes to the cash and equivalents, they currently hold $68.2 million, an average of $130 million. And unfortunately, I mean, well, you guys just saw all of the grades. Overall grade, guys, is a 2%. I mean, I don't understand this company in the slightest when it comes to fundamentals. And now when taking a look at the discounted free cash flow, well, here's the thing. I would personally wouldn't even bother with this because the fundamentals should drive your investing thesis to begin with. This you know, this to me doesn't really mean much, right? If the fundamentals aren't there, this doesn't really mean much. But for entertainment purposes only, I guess let's take a look at this. Current price of $1.76, not adjusting for debt, $16.46, adjusting for debt, $33.67. Guys, according to the calculator, this is an all-out buy, but again, the fundamentals just aren't there, right? So I don't really care what this says. If the fundamentals aren't there, I'm not going to like this at all. Now, again, this is going to be very, very tied to that of Bitcoin. Can their revenue skyrocket, right? Can the revenue skyrocket to, you know, right now Seeking Alpha is even saying their revenue is going to be around 28.81%, so around 30%. Let's say that the revenue actually does 30% in the next 5 years, and I think they're going to continue to issue shares at around like a 10% rate, guys. That's a $79. So that is a massive, massive jump, right? Can this happen? I guess. If this does happen and you're in it, congratulations. You guys got lucky. At the end of the day, the way that I see this is not investing in the slightest. This is gambling, right? This is straight up gambling. You're hoping for something to go up when the fundamentals just aren't there. Now, by all means, do with your money as you want, right? This is not financial advice. Every investment is the present value of all future cash flow. So hate my opinion, like my opinion, whatever, it is what it is. When it comes to a fundamental perspective on a company like this, yes, does it have a lot of potential? I guess you could say yes. However, there's a lot of factors that can throw this thing, you know, to the moon or crashing down to earth, or worse, right? That's just the way that I see it. Again, guys, not financial advice. Every investment is the present value of all future cash flow. And when it comes to this company, it's not an investment for me. If you guys want to put money into it, then by all means, go ahead, do so. Now, if you guys would like to support us here on this channel, all we're asking for is like, subscribe, comment. Really does help here with the algorithm on YouTube as well as Rumble. The goal is 3,000 subs on YouTube, and we already passed Rumble's goal, so congratulations to that. Again, guys, not financial advice. All the calculators are linked in the description below. So that pretty much does it for this analysis. I'm so terribly sorry that I couldn't really say much on it. Again, does it have potential? Yes, but this is not an investment, right? This is not an investment. This is a gamble. This is a straight up gamble. Again, I like Bitcoin. I own Bitcoin, right? I was staking Bitcoin, doing the Ethereum staking chains, and like, it was just crazy, right? I was using like the Ethereum networks, and it was crazy. However, I decided, you know what? This is just way too complicated. I'd rather let's strip it down. Let's stick to the tried and true methods of real estate and stocks. So my main thing is stocks. Hopefully one day I can actually get into real estate. But anyways, that pretty much does it. So with that said, peace out, and we'll see you all next time.